T-Soft shoots it, deflected right in. Pietrangelo save rebound. Stastny stopped by Pietrangelo. I don't believe that save. Neither does Peter Stastny. He can't believe the save that Pietrangelo just made on him as Frankie Sparkly. Now that maneuver there to stop and rob Peter Stastny. He should get 5 to 10 for that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tendy Talk. I am your host Joe, better known as Washed Up Goalie on social media. This week I chat with Essan Galo of the Bay Area Hockey Repair Shop in San Jose, California. Like last week's podcast guest, Essan has an interesting story that includes him immigrating to the U.S. during his formative years. Essan and I talked while he was driving to Lake Tahoe, so you may hear some background music playing. At one point, I know I heard some Green Day. Our conversation was all over the place, which is why Essan said the title of the podcast should be Don't Mind the ADD. It's because of that ADD that our conversation went many different ways and, like last week, was a long one. I broke this conversation up into two parts, but unlike last week, I'll be releasing part 2 next week, not tomorrow. So buckle up and enjoy the first half of the episode with Essan. Yeah, so hey, thanks for joining me, Essan. You and I were messaging back and forth to get you on, and the fellow I was planning on having on this week is in the UK, and he's having hip surgery today. So he found out earlier this week It was happening. So thanks for being able to pinch hit.
Oh yeah, that sounds serious. It's not the hockey tutorial guy, is it?
No, it's not him. It's oh god, I gotta look it up. I want to say his account is just UK Goalie. Give me a quick second. I can find it.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
It's the UK Goalie Network.
How was your sandwich?
Oh, it was delicious. I was just getting ready to make myself a peanut butter sandwich, and my wife was like, "Wait a minute, no. I got Jersey Mike's on the way for the family." So I said, "Okay, I'll take it."
I've had that a couple of times. It's good.
Yeah, we just had one open up by the house, so it was kind of nice. They deliver.
Nice.
Nice and easy.
Remind me where you're located.
I am in Hugo, Minnesota, just outside of the Twin Cities, northern suburb. Yeah.
Dude, I might get a chance to meet you if I end up going there next month for my birthday.
Well, if you do, you'll have to let me know. We'll definitely have to get together for a drink.
Yeah, or some pond hockey. Yeah. I don't know if there'll still be outdoor hockey like in March, but I have friends and family up there in Wayzata and Mankato and then Burnsville. Basically, like outside the Twin Cities.
Yep, I know all those areas, and heck, it's one of those. This year we might still have ice. I don't know. I've got the rink in the backyard. We could always skate there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I need to flood the rink this afternoon. My son and his buddy were out there skating yesterday. So
that's awesome, man. You can hear me okay then?
Yep, I can hear you good. So I don't know if you've listened to any of the episodes, but really...
yeah. I heard, I listened to the Kelly Rudy one and then the Ed Belfour one.
Oh, great. Those were two very fun conversations I had.
Yeah, man, you got some pool, dude. I love it.
Yeah, Kelly was fantastic. We had some beers together, and then Eddie, I think it was a few days after we recorded, I got the whiskey in the mail from him, so that was great too.
If you let me, I do have a story with those guys.
Yeah, share it.
When we start recording or whatever, the 3 weeks that Ed Belfour was in San Jose.
Yeah, no, I'm already recording, and it's funny you mentioned that.
Oh, you are.
I was a huge Eddie Belfour fan as a kid, and I was excited to see him come out and play, because the night he was traded was the night the Hawks were debuting their black alternate jerseys and his black eagle mask at the time, and
with the bird, right?
And I was like, oh, it's gonna look sweet, and then all of a sudden Jeff Hackett's starting in net, and
dude, I was like, everybody was hyping him up, and then like, oh, Colorado's gonna sweep them, whatever.
Yeah, but it was just one of those. But the funny part was, I had a San Jose Sharks jersey, and I took it to the pro shop the very next morning because I had already heard that he was going to switch to number 20. And I'm
Yeah.
going, I want Belfour on the back, and I want number 20. And the guy's going, that's not his number. It's like, but it is now. And he eventually goes, hey, you're paying for it. I'll put whatever you want on there. But
In in hockey goaltending, you have your your 7 degrees of
yep,
Vladislav Tretiak. Kind of like Kevin Bacon.
yep, exactly. So what's
You
your
know.
Eddie story?
So the 3.5 weeks that Eddie Belfour was there in San Jose, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was weird seeing him in his red Cooper Reactor 5 pads, and mind you,
It works
those
so
pads.
well, though.
Yeah, but and then and then the Sharks end up adopting a freaking like orange. 15 years later, but Sharks Fan Fest was happening in that time frame that he was still here. So him and Kelly Rudy was sharing a table, right?
Uh-huh.
And this was around a time where I had like a 35 millimeter camera, and I bought like 800 ISO quality film, and I took pictures with them, and then I asked Kelly, you're 12 wins away from 300. Are you gonna keep playing till you get there? Hey, gonna stay. This is a 16-year-old version of me that like was thinking about this moment, and the line was like an hour. I went straight to their table, right?
Yeah.
And Kelly was just laughing at me, and then Eddie was laughing at me too. And they look at each other like, who the hell is this kid? And I don't talk like I do it now. I had a stutter up until college, so like if I break into a stutter if I say more than like 8 or 9 words. So I think faster than I talk. But so we took photos, took selfie. My selfie game was good back then before it was cool. It
Yep.
actually takes skill to point the lens blindly.
Yeah, with those old
you,
cameras.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. But so after all that, and then they signed a couple of cards. I cannot find that rookie card from Fleer for Eddie Belfour, man. Like
I got my Upper Deck Eddie right here signed.
I see. Upper Deck. That was my baseball card collection. Was Upper Deck. I collected like most of my teenage years, but I for some reason I went with Fleer for hockey.
Yeah,
because they had like some hologram versions in '94 and '95.
Yeah, when I was collecting, I don't know why, but I liked the Score hockey card set, so I always went with them and Upper Deck because like you, Upper Deck was my baseball one too, and I just felt like I like them for baseball. Why not hockey?
Dude, I have to show you my Oakland A's '89 collection.
Oh boy, I can imagine.
Yeah, but that's for another time. But to finish that story, it was a happy, great story, and I wasn't driving yet. My driver's test was 2 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And I go take the 8 films to Safeway, and I come back the next day, because like an hour is more expensive than a 1-day turnaround. I come back the next day, ride my bike again 2 miles to Safeway, and they tell me they can't find my film.
Oh no.
And like I start breaking sweat, like I literally started crying in front of the freaking manager. It's like, I don't think you understand. Like, there's, film is expensive, man, for a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that broke my heart. Like, took photos with, oh God, yeah, with freaking Jeff Friesen wasn't playing then, I don't think, but I'm trying to remember Owen Nolan. I took a picture with Owen Nolan. He's neighbors with my step grandparents, and he's up in Tahoe now with his family. But dude, I was bawling. I was so sad. Like my jaw dropped. It's like what are they gonna do? Yeah, like did they steal my photos?
Kids today will never understand the struggle of photography on film. First of all, the fact that you can't see it right away. And then
Is
the hoping the pictures turn out. Are they underexposed? Are they overexposed? When I was in
exactly.
college, I actually took a photography class where we had to develop our own film, and that
Yeah, I
was,
did that too.
oh
Like
my God, that
slides and
was
stuff.
so
So
stressful.
tedious, right? So
Yeah,
tedious.
one little touch of the film to another piece, and your whole picture is ruined. It was
Hmm.
crazy. Uh,
Yeah, like I went to art school. I'm an art school dropout, but yeah, we took photos of our artwork and then also took photography class, and then we would go in a black room and develop
mhm.
them. And those acid, man, like yeah, like I couldn't smell for a week sometimes.
Yeah,
You know?
I enjoyed developing the photos, but not the film. The film, uh,
Yeah.
after you got done with the first photography class, then the teacher said we could take the film to the photography shop in town to get the film developed. But for
Uh,
for photography one, you had to do it yourself.
that's amazing. Man,
Yes.
sounds like you got a pretty creative side to you as well, huh?
Sometimes I
Yeah.
do. It was one of those. I went to school. I wanted to be a journalist, but my school didn't have a journalism curriculum, so I kind of got whatever was closest, and that was
Yeah.
it was kind of a mix
Like you want to
between
be a
graphic,
photographer or like
a
or
writer. So
gotcha.
my degree, technically, as I look at my diploma behind me, was titled electronic publishing. So it's kind of a graphic design and marketing degree in one. Um,
Yeah.
so I, which
I want
was,
to ask you what that mask is too. I
uh,
just noticed it.
yeah. So the one that you probably see is a Pro Mask. That was my high school helmet, and that's the hinged.
Wow.
It has the hinged back on it, and then the other one is my college mask, and that's the old Coho Heaton with the extended
Oh
chin.
man, you're on Babes and Co-host, right? Is
Yeah,
that how we met?
no, just through Instagram, I think.
Okay, I
Uh,
have a group I've had for forever. It's a little bit past 600 uh, members, but it's Babes and Co-hosts. Basically,
mm,
anybody that loves Coho gear,
yeah.
player or trade, buy, sell, trade, and post stuff in there. And we have the official Babes and Co-host theme song, the Boats and Hose. You know, but
Yep.
but Facebook keeps blocking that video content since November for
Oh boy.
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So I just keep deleting it and then reposting another source.
Yep. Might
You
as well.
know?
Yeah, I actually wore a pair of the Cohos, the Wah Cohos, the teardrop, not the pro
Oh,
version, but the senior version in high school. And God, were those good pads, even for a senior pad.
without the without the warts, right?
Yes, yes, without the warts. One of my teammates in
Yeah.
college had them with the warts, and I preferred the senior without the warts. It was a nicer pad, I
So
felt.
so the best part of my job is when I take apart gear, I I am on like data collection mode, right?
Yeah,
Like I'm always thinking about when I put these back together, all the wart pieces on the outer roll of the leg pads, on the glove and the blocker itself, dude, it almost weighs 10 ounces because it's basically molded rubber,
mm-hmm. Yep.
and there's been times where they ask me to refurbish that part. I'm like, it's a molded piece, man. Once that thing is gone, I can't replace it.
Yeah.
And then but some are still intact, dude. The hardest thing to do is lining up those holes so that the injected um, warts would go through the hole properly. Otherwise, it won't work.
Yeah.
But you know what, though, dude? I had a Coho 580 set. Like I I I ended up with Kelly Rudy's Cooper Reactor 4s when I played midget hockey, and then I switched to Coho 200, the Sharks one,
Yeah.
like the shark fin.
Yep.
So I don't think a shark ever wore the shark fin. It was just like a stock graphic,
Yeah. Yep. I remember that
But
one.
yeah, but I like the flat face, and it's like almost a pound lighter.
Yep. Those were nice pads too. So I want to get into a little bit of your background. So
Okay.
according to the website, and I remember this back from when you were first starting on the website, and I was one of the folks that helped volunteered, I guess you could say, to read through
Yeah.
everything. So you're not originally, well, I should say, you weren't born here in the States.
No.
You're from the Philippines, correct?
Yeah, I was born in the Philippines, and we didn't have hockey there until maybe 15 years ago. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
our skating rinks they're all inside a mall, and up until 6 years ago, there's a 10-foot beam in the middle because it's like next to the food court, and it's based on figure skating and public sessions. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The the
yeah,
the, the
yeah.
best
I
defenseman.
borrow. I dude. Yeah, yeah. Like, let's do the peekaboo play. You can't see the other net, but I
Yeah.
do play. So but like I think it was 5 years ago. The Philippines are now in the IHF Southeast Asian bracket, I guess, with Korea, South Korea, and Indonesia, Malaysia, and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah,
So
it's kind of, I haven't met those guys yet, but I keep in touch with them on Instagram.
so how old were
You
you?
still there?
Yeah, I'm here. So how old were you, and
Yeah.
at what age, or what age did you guys move to Missouri, and why? Why why did you leave
Yeah.
the Philippines and settle in Missouri?
So, long story short, like my grandma raised me in the Philippines while my parents worked up here in the United States. So, I wasn't old enough to remember my mom and my dad when they moved away, but my grandma raised me up until I was 11 and a half. So my mom and my father divorced, and she basically got me before my father did.
Mm-hmm.
And my new stepdad, he bought land out there, and just retired from Numi. It was the old Chevy plant. Now it became Numi, which eventually became the Tesla
Okay.
plant in Fremont. So yeah, that was 1992, I believe, and I spent a couple of years there, like seventh grade, and then first semester of eighth grade, and that's where I discovered hockey, man. Like I was raised by my grandma in the Philippines. I had this sheltered childhood,
Yep.
and I wasn't allowed to really do much. And the first time I saw a hockey game was in 1988, man. I think it was the Canada Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the Canada Cup? I don't know, but
It was still the Canada Cup back then, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't remember who they were playing, but my grandma's uncle at the time was like a court judge, and he had a satellite dish, and that was the first time I saw a hockey game. I didn't know what the hell they were doing, but it was like white everywhere. They were beating around a big black biscuit. I'm like, that's not a ball. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
Like I grew up in we had I would say humble beginnings. We ate okay, and we grew up. Life is hard in the Philippines. The biggest import there is money, because there's more Filipinos outside the Philippines that are actually living there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
yeah, my cousin's married to a Filipino fella, so I've learned a little bit about the island.
Yeah, so Minnesota, there's a big community there of Hmong people. They don't
Yep.
have their own country, and I'm very well versed. Like I appreciate history, and whether it's world history or even hockey history. I tell people that make the effort to get to know me. At some point in my life, I'm gonna have to pull a Slava Fetisov and go back to the motherland. And
Yes.
and I don't know, there's no Ministry of Sports in the Philippines, but there's a big opportunity there to grow the sport. There's already hockey manufacturing plants down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Brian's, like Vaughn bought in to invest it in Brian's.
Yep, which explains why
Vaughn
they're doing
owns
more
20%
custom
of,
stuff now.
Yeah, but do you remember the M series, the Halak, the H series, and the S series?
Yep.
I think they discontinued the S series, but they started producing those in the Philippines, including the Palms. So like, I'm a Brian's dealer, so like I get a lot of their parts, and a lot of them are made in the Philippines. And I'm like, this is so cool,
Yeah, that is cool. So you're middle school when you're coming over to the US, how as a kid did you handle that? And I asked that because the fellow I talked to for the episode previous to this, he was born in Latvia and he was 13 when him and his dad came over. So I know for him it was a little bit rough, but he had hockey. He was already playing hockey and had that to help bridge, kind of make friends. How was it for you? Learning a new culture, learning a new language, and assimilating at that age.
So like in the Philippines, we literally had, first grade, we had 8 classes right off the bat. We had to take English, Filipino, and Spanish, right?
Oh wow.
Like the Philippines has been, for the last 600 years, whether it's the Portuguese or the Spaniards or the Americans, we've been conquered at one point.
Yeah.
The Philippines is not sovereign nation by itself. It's only since after World War II, 1946, I think, when they got their independence. But going back to that, it's funny. We're not practicing any of this. We did not rehearse. You brought up Latvia. Great segue. I'm just going to bring up Arthur's Urbe.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you already know the Coho connection.
Yeah. And
the
your favorite goalie.
The 7 degrees to Tretiak. He was supposed to be the next Tretiak for the Soviet Union,
Mm-hmm.
He was that good.
Yeah.
And I have 10 of his rookie cards with his name is spelled on it for Dynamo Riga.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a satellite dish there. My stepdad at the time, so I lived in a small town called Nevada, Missouri, near Joplin. So like, in Tornado Alley. And the town that I lived in only had like 4,000 people at the time. So it was really small. My first day of school, I got in a fight because they mixed the middle school and the high school there because it's a small town. And he played the smear the queer game, and somebody was screaming queer, and then I turned around and waved at him. My first day of school, man. First period hasn't even started yet.
Oh no.
And second period, somebody that witnessed that told me what that word meant, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Like I had a thick accent, like even though we knew English. If you ever call a call center in the Philippines, like PayPal or T-Mobile, their English down there is really hard. But as soon as lunch happened, I go to the basketball court, and this guy is like the high school quarterback for the JV, wearing his freaking, leather jacket.
Yep.
And I go up to him. I'm only like 5 feet tall at this time. He's like 6'2". Oh, I got close enough to him. I was like, I wanted to thank you for teaching me what that word meant. And then I got close enough and I clocked him. And so we exchanged a couple of fights. Of course, he wins, but we became best friends until I had to move to San Jose.
Yeah. It's funny you say it. There's a great movie with Bill Murray and Melissa McCarthy where it's called St. Vincent. And
I've seen that movie.
Yeah. And I love how he's like, she's all upset because her son's not getting along with this kid. And he's like, what's going to happen? They're going to have to get into a fight and then they'll be best friends. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, that's what boys do. And sure enough, that's what happened in the movie. And that's what happened with you.
Yeah. And dude, like, even before then, like I already was watching St. Louis Blues games and you remember the old IHL Kansas City Blades? I had no idea that the Kansas City Blades was part of the Sharks farm system, right? Like the Sharks wasn't even in my radar. The first hockey game I saw was a Devils game because my stepdad at the time, he has all the cable channels, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I
old school satellite when you got everything.
dude, his basement, he had freaking shortwave radios. He had ham radio. We were talking to truckers. We had 100-foot radio antenna and a 30-foot radius satellite dish. You know, like it's not quite as big as Cable Guy with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
But you can lay on that. You can sleep on that thing.
Yeah.
So like I got, you know, it's one of those things to where, holy crap, what is this that I'm watching? And I can't stop watching it. Like I was just, you know, I would skip feeding because the farm that I was staying at, we had 400 acres and we had livestock, but I also had, like, you know, of course you have your chores and stuff. And, you know, like it took me, let's say 3 months to get used to the lifestyle, because you got a city boy that was raised by his grandma. And, you know, my grandma, you know, didn't come to America till like a year later. So it was quite an adjustment, but it allowed me to like literally get that firsthand prepubescent teenage years, becoming a man kind of thing, you know, driving a tractor, live the farm life. Dude, you know, the short time I was in Missouri, man, it left the biggest imprint in my life. And, you know, going back to hockey in simpler terms, thought to myself, I want to play, you know, like I didn't even know what the word assimilation was until I moved to San Jose, and they give you like a language test, make sure that, you know, you don't have to go to ESL, like English second language classes.
Yeah, I work for a company called Lexia, where we're part of Rosetta Stone. So we're very much in tune with English as a second language there.
Really?
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, dude, like, you know, because of my social inequities back when I was a kid, and I got bullied a lot because of my speech impediment. And now you can kind of pick up, you know, a little bit of stutter here and there, especially when I get mad. Like my temper was something that really needed work on when I was a kid. And hockey was like, I want to play hockey, you know? And my first,
how did you get into playing hockey? Because even in Missouri at that time,
it wasn't cold enough to have outdoor hockey. It wasn't cold enough. Yeah.
You know, and then you go to San Jose, where the Sharks are there, and there's maybe one rink at the time for you. So how did you get into playing?
So it was already, So by the time we moved down here, my parents sold the land for natural gas. So if you ever wonder why there's earthquakes in Missouri, it's because they're literally draining all that natural gas and fracking. But so dude, like it's crazy. I'm gonna be 40 next month, and all these people that I watch on TV, like some of them are like my mentors, and even like vendors that I sell their products for, you know, like Sharks alumni and former NHLers. And as soon as we moved to San Jose, I grabbed a bus map and went to a roller hockey rink. This place called Gremic Roller Hockey in Japantown in San Jose, you know, and they had 2 rinks. And this was before Sport Court became a thing in 90. I think Sport Court became a thing in like 94, 95, you know, when the RHI made him famous. We're going to talk about RHI too, buddy.
Yeah, and the Chicago Cheetahs. I remember watching them on TV. Al Seacor played for the Cheetahs.
Dude, I have a Cheetah jersey.
Oh,
I saved it. I saved it.
RHI Pro Beach Hockey out there in California was another
dude. Yeah. Do you remember the NHL breakout tournament too, the street hockey tournament?
Yes, I wish I had it sitting here. I played at the one in Chicago the first year. My team went to the finals.
You son of a bitch.
So that tournament was held in the parking lot of McCormick Place in Chicago, which is right next to Soldier Field. And TLC was putting on a concert that weekend. So they were doing all of their mic checks and everything. So you just kept hearing them singing as we're outside playing. But it was so hot that weekend. It was like 98 degrees, high humidity, and we're skating on blacktop. And I'm pretty sure I got heat stroke that weekend.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Chelios was walking around, all the kids were following him. But I mean, I grew up in basically the same neighborhood as Chelios, so I ran into him often. So I'm
That's
like,
awesome,
you
man.
guys
I might,
go.
dude. If you ever took photos, I think my mom caught some photos, and you can see duct tape, like no clear like packing tape all over my pads because I did not want to asphalt scrape it.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, uh, I wouldn't have ever gotten a chance to play hockey if I didn't get a chance at that roller hockey rink. Mr. Van Leeuwen Sr. owned it, and I just asked if there's any way I can like work or fix some of the rental gear. I want to play so bad, and this is a freaking 13-year-old kid that was like
Yeah.
really shy and a stutter and my grandma taught me how to sew. So that's the backstory. Since I was a kid, my grandma had like a convenience store in the Philippines, and like she put me to work, man, like those 50-kilogram bag of rice and fresh fish and stuff, you know, and and that was when I discovered like wrestling too, because they would air them live with that time difference. You have to watch it at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So Ultimate Warrior was my favorite. By the time we get back to the house, after we get like fresh supplies and stuff to sell at the store. But
Knowing
yeah,
you
so
liked the old school
the
wrestling,
Mr. Ba-
so knowing you like the old school wrestling, real quick, my
oh,
mom
dude,
worked at a shoe store
yeah,
and kangaroo shoes. I don't know if you remember them, but they would give
oh
passes
yeah, of
to
course,
wrestling. And so me and my dad go to the one time, and we got to go behind the curtain afterwards to meet
yeah.
some of these guys. And it was funny because we got some kids coming down. So then it was all the bad guys had to quick run out of the locker room, and they had to put on their game face and be mean again. But got to meet the Ultimate Warrior, and then I have a picture with one of the Road Warriors. He's got his big shoulder pads on. He's got about 8 of us kids in a headlock. That's how big he was.
Man, dude, I gotta introduce you to Baby Huey. He's a DJ here in in the Bay Area, and also a buddy of mine that owns like a memorabilia, but he focuses on like wrestling memorabilia.
Yeah.
He's a big wrestling fan too, and dude, no, my best memory was Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant.
Yes.
And this was like, that when he beat him, like
when they had the cartoon, the WWF cartoon.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I did not see that until I got to the United States. Like I rented a VHS tapes.
Yes.
Oh God.
Wrestling was, I would say, worth watching, and they stuck with the storylines. When I was a journalist, I got to meet a fellow by the name of Adnan Al-Kaisi. So if you remember,
Who's that?
He was a WWF wrestler. If you remember Sergeant Slaughter, his ring manager,
Yeah.
It was his ring manager. So he grew up in Iraq and was childhood friends with Saddam Hussein. But as he says,
that's an awesome backstory.
As he says, they went two drastically different paths. But as he got into wrestling, he was Saddam's minister of youth sports for a number of years, and he got Andre the Giant to come over for a match. And they're talking beforehand, and he goes, "You understand? I have to win this, right?" And Andre goes, "Yeah, I do. Obviously." He goes, "No, you don't understand. If you were to win, they will shoot you on sight." And he goes, "Okay, you're going to win this one." But he now lives here in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities in Minnetonka.
Is that right?
In fact, I got the book sitting here under my desk. Where is it? This is the problem with having so many books. He had to flee Iraq.
Wow.
In the middle of the night, when he found out that Saddam was basically done with him.
That's the biography,
and was going to kill him. Yeah, that's his autobiography. And after I interviewed him, he sent me a signed copy. Just a fantastic guy. But he fled in the middle of the night and had basically written his life story down. But he had to wait until the regime came down because he still had family there and feared for their lives. So you know,
Oh man.
I like to read, but I'm not a fast reader. That's a book that
Yeah.
it was a page turner just because the story it should really be turned into a movie.
Hey, you know what? Eventually, man, like you never know. Dude, I have to send you a photo when I worked at the airport, and I have a picture with Shane McMahon and the WWE plane in the background.
Oh, cool.
They were stuck there for 10 hours because it was a rare 102-degree day in San Jose. It rarely hits triple digits here, but it did. But the whole plane is black with a strip of red. And you know what happens when the sun sprays on that, it expands. The pilots inside that was prepping for takeoff, they were doing their checklist and stuff. They were stuck there for 10 hours.
Yeah.
So,
and if I'm not mistaken, it takes planes longer to take off in the extreme heat as well. Essan, you have frozen up, and for those
in the heat.
Oh, there you are. You're back now.
The air is not as dense. It's there's not as much air. Oh, sorry. You get no lift when it's too hot outside. Like, dude, I miss the first day of the NHL award show / Vegas lottery draft.
Yeah.
Because my plane was grounded. All United States, because it was like 20 degrees everywhere and planes can't take off. So go ahead.
One of my best friends is actually a pilot. He was, for a while, his home base was out of Oakland. Now it's out of Vegas. He lives up here. He just commutes to work. So I do know about that part of flying. When it's really hot, you might be sitting for a while.
All right. Yeah. I was there at T-Mobile when they had the NHL awards show.
Oh, cool.
They had to wait until it was cool enough to fly. It'd be a full packed plane, but everybody kind of just like, whatever. We'll just reschedule our flights.
Yeah.
So, but I got a bunch of free drinks comped.
Yeah. Well, when you fly now, the only drink you get, if you're lucky, is a little bottle of water about that big. That's all. And that's when you that's when you get on the airplane. There's no beverage service. There's no pretzels or cookies in the middle of the flight. It's just here's your hand sanitizer and here's your bottle of water.
Oh, yeah. They gave me 6 free Jack Daniels shot glasses.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was nice. That's like $40 right there. I didn't have to pay.
Yeah. But, so back to the topic here, because this is what happens half the time. You get two goalies talking, and our ADD kicks in, and we're like, boom,
I don't want you to spend too much time editing. So, when I was 13, I took the bus, went there, and Mr. Van Leeuwen, it's like, okay, show me what you got, So he gave me some gear. I literally carried a goalie bag with a shoulder strap, took the bus back home and started repairing it. And, he gave me like $100 a week later. And he was impressed with the hand stitching job that I did, mostly like fixing straps and putting like a patch on some stuff. But, and then a couple of gloves, I patched the holes on them. And, he gave me money and he's like, do you have any gear? Do you play already? I'm like, no, I want to play. I'm saving up. And he basically gave me garbage gear just to get started, So I started playing out, but my first like actual, in-house game, I got in a fight.
It seems to be a recurring theme.
I have a temper. Yeah. But so, Mr. Van Leeuwen, it was a fight. It was a fight against his son, like Eric Van Leeuwen Jr. We became good buddies. We still play to this day. I call him Ugly Eric Lindros because he kind of looks like him.
Okay.
So we became friends, so the connection keeps getting thicker there. And eventually I started playing there every day, man. Like I was there 3 hours a day. Or after school, I would take the bus. until I got my license, because I was only, 13, 14, almost 14 at the time. And I hid this from my mom and my grandma. My grandma was finally here. My mom got divorced from my stepdad. And, I hid it. I literally hid it. Like I had all my gear at the rink. I had my own little like slot to hide all my gear. And
why did you hide it from him?
Typical Asian kid, my mom thinks I'm smart enough I had three options: be a doctor, lawyer, or, a nurse or something. Like focus on your studies. There's only two rules: don't get a girl pregnant, and make sure you get a scholarship, because I can't afford to put you through college.
I laugh that you say that, because I'm a fan of the comedian Joe Coy, who's also Filipino, and he said the same thing. As a Filipino, you have three options: doctor, lawyer, or nurse. And he's got siblings, and they're doctors and
but
lawyers.
Someday,
and he's like, and here I am, the comedian.
Yeah, well, he wasn't born. He actually liked a joke that I shared with him, that I tagged him in, and because he wasn't born in the Philippines, he didn't know the struggle of squatting in a toilet. My best joke right now is I didn't discover toilet paper until 1992. We literally had to use a little bowl, bowl with a handle and water, and we used our hands, Asian style, and we squat in a hole. I have a bunch of milk crates at my shop now, and I have a picture of a squatty potty on the milk crate. It's the same freaking height, man. I missed out on that, multi-million-dollar freaking invention.
Yeah.
Okay. So we keep.
Yeah. So you're hiding hockey from your mom and your grandma because.
I was scared of my grandma. Exactly.
How did they find out about your secret shame, and how did they react?
Oh God! So they called the house. I tried out in secret. I paid the $150 tryout fee to try out for Santa Clara Valley Blackhawks here. It's like one of the travel teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already 17 at this time, and I was full time playing roller. I barely played ice until this place called Hockey Workout. They literally called it the freezer, because they were leasing a freezer, and they had like a 50 by 50 sheet of ice, dude. And that's how Hockey Workout started. Mm-hmm. And you go in there, you can get a membership. You just drop in. It's basically on a golf course driving range business model. Mm-hmm. You drop in, you take a bucket of pucks and you shoot, and that's and then I started practicing. I want to play ice hockey because I'm going to be a senior, and I wasn't good enough to play travel hockey for a roller, and I was already working like 2 jobs. I was doing random jobs and stuff to save up, because hockey's expensive, man. And what I was gonna get to is that I also took classes, like skating classes, So I had like literally 2 months to train and get going and hopefully make a team. And
and your mom and grandma don't know about it.
They didn't know. So the day came when my mom got a phone call. I wasn't home yet. When I got home, my mom slapped me so hard and then hugged me. I shit you not. That was the most confusing moment of my life at the time. And then she told me that was the first time she told me she was proud of me, but don't ever lie to her again. Because dude, I was good enough to be like in a starting squad in JV football my freshman year. Mm-hmm. But they did the hazing thing. They shaved my head. My mom was out of the country at the time. When she came back home, she went nuts. She went full postal, went to the superintendent's office, because I was friends with the superintendent's son at the time, which goes to the same high school I went to.
Yeah.
And she basically threatened to sue and started making noise and threatened to like sue the school.
Oh no.
Their permission. I was happy, hazing was okay. I was part of the team, bonding.
Yeah.
Part of a family. That was something, hockey has always been mine. Philip, like my mom did a pretty good job keeping me away from like like the kind of life that immigrants typically get into. Like, she didn't want me to get into she didn't want me hanging out with my cousins, my blood cousins in San Jose, because they were doing different stuff,
Yeah.
like gangbanger stuff. Anyhow, so yeah. And then, she gets that phone call. I got a scholarship to play travel hockey. And I got to play travel hockey, man. That was the best year of my life. Yeah. So and I got team MVP. I got to go to the All-Star game, and I got recruited by Cal Berkeley. But I had my sights set of Dartmouth. I applied to Providence College too, but I didn't get accepted. But I wanted to get the hell out of the Bay Area. I wanted some space, and a part of me maybe thought I might be good enough to play too, or I'd play club hockey, but just to get the hell out of Dodge,
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
Dartmouth didn't have any scholarships, so my fallback plan was art school. I went to art school for on a full scholarship. I was I was playing travel hockey, and I was also preparing for my advanced placement portfolio. So 2 years later, I dropped out of art school. I got married young, knocked up my girlfriend at the time, and then she had a miscarriage, and we still got married, but that was a very short marriage, and very, very costly mistake. That would make me 22 already at that time. I mean, dude, I quit hockey for almost 8 years, dude.
It's funny you
like I
say
became
that.
an alcoholic.
There's a lot of people I know that I wouldn't say they quit hockey, but they take that break away from the game, and once they come back, it's funny because again, the fellow I talked to last week, Keats, same thing. He stepped away from the game for a while, and we almost need that to remember why we love the game when we come back to it.
Yeah, and dude, like I was hard, like 2003 was probably the worst year of my life, because that hockey workout rink, that freezer eventually became like a 3-on-3 mini rink with a driving range, and that was from 1998 to 2003, and I was basically running the place the last year, and it closed down. Like it wasn't managed very well. I mean, why are you trusting a 22-year-old guy to run the place? But it was falling apart. Like it wasn't taken care of. The owner and I got really close. Chicago, actually. I have heard of Kane Graphics. That's his company, Kane Graphics.
Okay.
No relation to Patrick or Evander. But he loved the game too, man. But he was never the same when his fiance died, Filipina lady. Like, she died from cancer. And
oh boy.
Yeah. And hockey was there. He kept it going for 5 years, as long as he could. But the trauma of that, because that was something they built together, that was their baby.
Yeah. And so every day he went in, it was a reminder, a deep reminder, not because I'm sure he still thinks about her every day, but it was just kind of a slap in the face almost, probably every day seeing that.
Yeah. And dude, my only saving grace, man, like, it's hard for me to relate to people, that's why I try so hard to like know pop culture and movie references. Like with my English, it got better because, like I watch a lot of movies, and it helped with my English. And then I always have, to this day, I still watch television with captions on, just so I can retain the information. Once I learn something, I'm about to pass Belfort Road, by the way.
Oh, nice.
But to finish that train of thought, what was I saying? Sorry. I'm getting thirsty.
No, shoot, no. You brought up Belfort Road, and I got distracted as well.
Look, a chicken. No, no, just trying to find a common ground. Like, I I'm terrible. I'm not a very articulate person, but I always like a challenge, and I got into sales right after that rink closed down, and
Mm-hmm.
I pulled over. So I got into sales, and eventually I got into insurance and became an insurance agent, and that's where I discovered alcohol and drinking and being being basically like an alcoholic almost every night, man. And
Oh
you know,
boy.
between the rink closing and then me getting divorced and all that stuff, dude, I kind of went on an 8-year spiral. You know, like I was making decent money, but I wasn't happy. You
Yep.
know, and you know, hockey saved my life twice. You know, it allowed me to fit in and make friends and make the connections. You know, that to this day stays with me because I wouldn't have been able to start my business the way I had out of my car in 2011 if I didn't have my former coaches, former teammates to reach out to, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and social media made a big difference too because you know, starting a Facebook page and Instagram,
Yep.
whatnot, it reaches more people, right? Like,
Well, and it's interesting you bring up, starting the business out of your car. So you've got a job, a decent one at the time, but you're not happy. What got you back into the game and, you know, doing the repairs out of the back of the car? What brought you back?
my in 2011, my grandma um needed a back surgery, and I was living in Daly City at the time. Near it's like just south of San Francisco.
Okay.
It's it's where most of the fancy Filipinos live in Daly City, and you know, it's always steamy over there because they say it's steam rice, um, smoke. So I moved back to, you know, help take care of my grandma, but I lost all my paperwork when I moved back. Like, you know, my passport, my birth certificate, and I've already put in my 2 week notice to quit working at AAA. So I couldn't get a job for almost 3 years, man.
Oh, wow.
And when I became a citizen in 2005, I paid for my own citizenship. I sang at my own citizenship ceremony. I got the VIP treatment, dude. Like they had like a buffet. I even went on a few dates with the person that tested me. Really cute, cute lady. She was a little bit older than I am, and I got a perfect score. Everybody should take the citizenship test because I you know, they ask you who's your current senator for the state of California, you know,
Yep.
and it's like the DMV. They'll never ask you the obvious, simple questions, right? There's always going to be those throw offs, but
Yeah.
and going back, I got my start because I was actually like in legal trouble to where I could have gotten deported out of technicality. Even
Oh,
though I'm
boy.
a citizen,
Yeah.
even though I'm a citizen, I was supposed to bring my citizenship, my naturalization certificate to Social Security Administration so they can put it in their system because dude, 2005, 2004, you know, still to this day, actually, DMV computers and systems don't talk to each other, right?
No.
You know, they run on DOS. Like, God, I hate it. So yeah, so that's 2011. It took until I went back to the Philippines to bury my uncle in 2014 to get a copy of my birth certificate to finalize all that so I could basically get my life back. But in the meantime, I was bleeding money and I couldn't get like a corporate job. So that's where the hockey thing came in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And a key thing, I got back into hockey 2 months prior to starting my business out of my car because this girl from Finland pushed, you know, kind of encouraged me to get back into hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So you ever seen that movie Billy Madison?
Oh, God, yes. One of my
So
favorite quotes is, "Thank you, Billy. Everyone is now
yeah.
double."
So she was actually dating somebody at the time, but because we knew each other through mutual friends, we were camping, and there was a moment there where I was talking to one of my other friends in like campfire, you know,
Yeah.
in the middle drinking and whatnot. We were four-wheeling earlier that day, and we brought up Besa Toscala and then like Yarmo Milis. And then I was saying it in perfect like Finnish accent. And she's like, you speak Finnish? She has and I'm like, yeah. I don't know what to say. But, we became like really close friends, and, being like kind of like dead inside and lost and hating myself with like all the failures. I mean, I dropped out of school on a free scholarship, and didn't get my degree, and got married young, and then the rink closing, and, like running away from my problems, I guess. Then, depression. And I also had multiple concussions too, man. And,
Are you a goalie if you don't have multiple concussions?
Uh,
I don't remember.
One of my other jokes too is that I told my doctor literally pissed herself when I told her this, is that, doctor, I have to be careful with the ladies, I'm one concussion away from a motorboating accident from like dying on the ice. I mean, I wouldn't mind having an Alan Thicke death, like he died doing what he loved. Nobody makes fun of Alan Thicke. Is it too soon to make fun of Alan Thicke dying on the ice?
No, not in that regard. Whenever people ask me how many concussions I've had 6, but I always hold up 7 fingers to see if they catch it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, my first concussion playing roller hockey, I got ran into. Like people love playing against me because I was kind of aggressive when I was playing, and I would always slash people. I've broken a lot of sticks.
Yeah, I've told the story before on the podcast, but back when sticks were wooden and $50 a piece, when I was in high school, I had a temper, and I would get mad and I'd break them over my knee. And finally, my dad had enough of it, and he goes, "If you break another stick over your knee, I'm not replacing it. You're buying your own."
Wait a second. I'm trying to picture it. So you're lifting your leg kind of like a lunge, and then
I'm taking my stick and, right like that onto the knee. So basically breaking the shaft at the paddle. And
oh my God.
Broke quite a few of those Cooper Reactor 5s over my knee. And my dad says, I'm not buying any more if you break them over your knee.
Dude, there's one model of Cooper Reactor 5 laminates that I couldn't break, was the Flaherty. Flaherty had a fairly flat paddle.
Yeah, well, the whole Reactor 5, because I had the Belfour. God, that's my all-time favorite.
But dude, the Belfour is way too curved. It's got the mid curve.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I hated it because I would always chuck the puck too fucking high. But the Flaherty one, it was really flat, but the blade is an extra inch longer.
Oh, really?
I kid. They weren't enforced back in the day. That no goalies that no one's gonna try to put a quarter through that freaking curvature.
But it was funny that my dad tells me that, and the very next game I let in a goal. I'm not happy, and I break my stick, and all of a sudden I'm just hunched over. I'm upset. Yeah. I know I just cost myself $50. Well, my grandfather, who was a Dutch immigrant, didn't really understand the game, but he loved watching it. And he looks at my dad. He goes, "Why is he so upset? It wasn't a bad goal." And my dad goes, "No, he just realized he cost himself $50." So my grandpa finds me in the lobby after the game, and he tells me this, and then he hands me $50. He goes, "Go get yourself a stick, but don't tell your dad where you got the money from." And that was the last stick I broke out of anger.
That's so funny. How old were you at that time?
Oh, I was probably 15 or 16. I was in high school. I remember that.
That's so funny.
Well, let me do the math. So yeah, I had to have been, because he passed away the same day Mark McGuire broke the home run record.
Oh my God.
Yes, I remember that because it was right after the baseball strike. Me and my dad weren't too big on baseball because we thought they were being greedy at that point, but there's just something about baseball that brings you back together. And he passed away that morning, and that evening we watched the Cubs-Cardinals game, and that eased the pain of the day. I'll put it that way.
Oh man, I'm sure your dad was watching that game with you.
Yep. Yeah. It was it's
I'm sure
something
he
we both
was, right?
remember. Well, yeah. My grandpa.
Uh,
Well, it's funny. My
I was
grandpa.
wa-
He he didn't quite understand or like baseball or softball because he'd go to my cousin's games and he goes, "It's so boring. There's only two people playing at any given time." That's what he liked about
yeah.
hockey. He goes, "They're all playing, and even the people on the bench, they're like, ah, maybe I'll go in now and hop on the, you know." He's like,
Oh my God.
everybody's involved, but he's absolutely right. Baseball, there's only two people actively playing at any given time.
This is true. You got the
Yeah,
pitcher and the hitter.
I was like, Opa, you're not wrong.
Oh man, no, I wanted to play catcher so bad, but
Yeah,
the fear, the vulnerability of the only thing standing between you, crouched down, squatting down, is a piece of cup and then a really thin, like chest
yeah.
padding. No
I
way.
was a
No.
catcher. I played baseball before hockey, and I was a
Yeah.
catcher. So it didn't surprise my dad that I wanted to be a goalie too. He's like, "You're just drawn to all of that stuff." It's like,
Oh
yeah, I kind
man.
of am. So you
Yeah.
get back into repairing equipment, and word obviously spread because you're not just known in the Bay Area, like you're known across the country. People send you their stuff. In fact, some of the goalie groups I belong to on Facebook, when somebody says, "Hey, I just picked this up, where can I get it repaired?" And people are like, "Send it to Bay Area Hockey
Yeah.
Repair."
Yeah.
you know how soon did you get that reputation, and how has those different connections, because I know your shop now is right by the San Jose Sharks practice rink. That's got to help.
Yeah, across the street, but I didn't move there until 2016. We're I like to participate, I guess. I think the best part of hockey nowadays, with beer league, is the chirping, right?
Yes.
It's at one point I got kicked out of like half of the fantasy hockey leagues that I was in because I chirped too hard.
I
You
got
know?
kicked out of a fantasy football league because yeah, apparently I chirped too much. There was only one person in the league that liked it and would give it back, but everybody else was like offended. It was like, well, what's the
Yeah.
point of fantasy sports if you're not going to pick on each other?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm like, I took over a fantasy hockey team, 14th place, last freaking place, because the guy literally did not participate in week 6 already. It was only
Yeah.
18 weeks or whatever, and I shot up to barely making the playoffs, like last seeded, to winning it all. I caught a run.
Nice.
Giroux. Fucking, this is the same year in 2017 when Giroux hurt himself and missed 20 games because of that golf injury.
Yep.
Yeah, and I picked him up. A guy traded him with me, and the trophy, I still have yet to get it. This was 2017. Yeah, and like they hated me so much, I guess. Like they couldn't believe it, and I won by 1 point, dude. The tiebreaker was the plus and minus.
Oh boy.
So what are you gonna do, right? There was
Yeah.
only 8 categories. When you only have 8 categories, every single game counts, man.
Yeah, it's funny when I played fantasy hockey. Those were the things I looked at. It's like, all right, I'm not going to get the top goal scorers in the league, but the league I was in, it was penalty minutes counted.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like look for those outliers, and you're going to do well.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I stayed away from fantasy leagues that had short-handed goals.
Yes, those
because
are
that could be the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
If you have 9 categories, that could be the tiebreaker. I'm like, that is so stupid. All you need is 1 per week, if even that.
When I was the commissioner of a league, I was very goalie friendly, so I didn't count goals against. I counted saves, save percent. I went that route with the goalies. It's like, no, we're not going to penalize you because your defense sucks.
Please tell me you didn't put assist in there
For goalies. No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, I think Mike Smith's basically the last goalie that still pretty much consistently contribute, but
Yeah.
they need to get rid of the trapezoid rule, man.
Yeah,
You know?
they say that was part of the rule to open up scoring, but all it did was stifle the goaltender and being able to open up those plays.
If anything, if they need to modify that rule, they gotta keep the trapezoid rule. That should be like the no man's land, fair game, the Ed Belfour zone.
Yeah.
The Owen Nolan can check Ed Belfour in the trapezoid behind the net.
Yeah, if anything, make it that. Like, okay, if the goalie's in there playing the puck, they're fair game. Anywhere outside of there, you gotta
only behind the blue line, only behind the red line. I mean,
yeah, just in the trapezoid, right there behind the net. That's where you can hit the goalie. But if they're in the corner, they're off limits.
Yeah. Did you see Markstrom's pad stack hip check the other night?
Yes, that was great.
Who was it? Was it Jay Onrait that made a reference to Hasek?
Probably.
Because Hasek would do that almost every game.
Yes.
Man.
Yes. So you get back into the game. You're doing these repairs. I mean, you started in a time when equipment was just a generation out of brown leather deer hair, which is what I started in, to what it is now. I mean, what's it been like to watch this evolution of the equipment? And I almost think the stuff's probably, it's better for the play, but everything I see seems to be a little bit cheaply made compared to when we were kids. What do you see as the biggest innovation in the equipment as you've had to go back and repair the different pieces?
As far as materials are concerned, I always try to make it a point to be fair because, I get paid to fix problems.
Yep.
And, I've made a lot of, let's say, enemies or people get rubbed the wrong way because frankly, I don't have time to beat around the bush, to try to get to a solution, because when people come to me for help and then they feel like I can't help them because one, they need this done yesterday or they have a game in 5 minutes and they don't realize that, like something's fallen off until it falls off. Like, solving problems, it's a curse and I say a gift, I guess, but over time, I realize more and more that the biggest market in hockey is in used gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Minnesota, for example, you guys have the best freaking Play It Again Sports. I've been there. I've been there a few times. I was there for the 2015 Let's Play Hockey Expo.
Oh, yep. I take my boy to that every year. I love it.
Yeah, and there. It's currency, right? Like most people would rather just keep buying used gear, right? Gently used gear. I mean, Play It Again Sports, they build their business on a consignment algorithm software, and you need like $500,000 to start one. They give you inventory, but the consignment software that they have proprietary ownership with, that's how they keep getting gear in. And, and it's a big market. Dude, we don't have a Play It Again Sports anymore in San Jose. The closest one is by the beach. Mm-hmm. And most of their gear there is water sports, and I am literally the only hockey service shop left in California because my buddy, Jake's Custom Pro Shop, he kind of got screwed over with leases in Southern California, and I'm literally the last one. We lost about 6 rinks in the Bay Area in the last 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And we lost Hockey X, which was up until they closed last November, was the oldest, longest running sporting goods store. But all we got now is Pure Hockey, and then you got the little small pro shop inside Shark Size, and they do basic skate repairs, and then they have Sparks machines now. And I got my last concussion. I had there was this, there's a screw that holds on to your cage here, right?
Yep.
And it came off, and it was in the middle of a game. I missed almost a period, just them trying to put a screw in there. It was too long and a concussion, dude, because that bolt that they put in there is too long, and I literally was off balance trying to get off the ice because, dude, like I knew it. My ears was ringing on my right side when a puck. It was a backhand, but it was hard enough. I was playing like in an advanced league. I was subbing for a buddy of mine, and it wasn't even a hard shot, but just the way it hit straight on that bolt. And the bolt is like an inch long, so I didn't feel it because I have, you have thick padding on the forehead area of your goal mask, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's things like that, man. Like like I don't compete with the retail stores because I have a completely different business model. Most people that come into my shop, they don't even realize that what, because I'm a lonely island here. I'm mostly self-taught, man. Like, everything that I've learned in hockey, I had to teach myself how to sharpen skates. I had to sneak in. My first job was at Valco, and they wouldn't let me in the rental room, and I was basically in a pro shop as a cashier.
Mm-hmm.
I just got my driver's license, and I wanted to drive the Zamboni, man. But, you know, but I guess I created my own opportunities out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I like I always try to remind people I am literally in this business to save you money and keep you guys safe because
Mm-hmm.
you were here a month ago, and yeah, just because it's free with the purchase of your skates doesn't mean it's good. And people don't come to my shop until either they have a game to go to or a practice across the street, right? So it's all about visibility. And I was strictly repairs up until 2016 when that shop was available for sale. And the owner of that shop, the former owner, literally called me first and wanted to see if I wanted to just take over.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've been, when I was managing that rink at Hockey Workout, I was training kids, man. Like, I was sharpening skates there and doing payroll and all that stuff, and facilities manager. I can't tell you how many times that freaking auger almost cut my foot off.
Yeah, I drove a Zamboni for a while in college, and those machines are no joke. You gotta, as simple as they are, you gotta give them a lot of respect.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you got wood. You got a couple of 2x4s on the side of the auger when you're dropping it.
Yeah.
You don't want you don't want your body to catch that thing, especially
No.
when it's dull. The number one rule with any cutlery is that the more the ones that are not sharp are more dangerous than
Yep.
the sharp ones, and it's a constant struggle, man, because I'm not even I won't this last year, people forget San Jose, Santa Clara County was literally ground zero for the pandemic. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
had our first death here, and that person that was an arena events worker, like those ushers or whatnot.
Yeah.
And this person worked multiple events, like like basketball game, a Sharks game, and then SAP was the first one that got shut down after that death. And
Mm-hmm.
that was, I think, March 17th was the first day that shelter in place came into play, and the CDC literally shut us down. And politics aside and everything, hockey has been limited here, man. Like, I
Here
have
too.
to drive in Minnesota.
Yeah, rinks were shut down over the summer, so luckily I live close enough to Wisconsin. We were crossing the river to go play hockey in Wisconsin because they were open.
Are you near Madison?
Madison's about a 3.5 hour drive, but we would go right across into Hudson, Wisconsin. That was only about 40 minutes for me, which isn't bad because it's 30 minutes to the super rink where I usually skate. So it's like, what's 10 minutes more to be able to play?
Yeah.
And so that was good. We can skate now. We have to wear a mask while we're on the ice, and you can't arrive until 15 minutes before your skate to get ready, which is not good for an old goalie like me who has, what is it, like 7 straps per per pad. It's like it takes me 15 minutes just to put my leg pads on, guys. A lot of the rinks are giving goalies grace, though.
I don't envy you. Like, I can't tell you I think 8 minutes is basically like my average time.
Yeah.
And that includes commute because I would just walk across the street to the rink.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
in normal times for beer league, I get there about an hour beforehand and take my time. Usually have my pregame beer. Um, you know, you got to get ready.
I think that's the worst part of recreational sports is the socializing aspect of it because hockey, when you're not playing competitive anymore, it's all about the socializing, right?
Yep. And when you take the locker room part out of it, it's like that's the biggest reason we come out and play is
Yeah.
to be around I say the boys because my team is all guys, but even the co-ed teams, it's to be around the like-minded people who you know it might even just be for 15 minutes after a game, but still.
Do you see
Excuse me.
what's behind me, by the way?
All kinds of goalie equipment. It's
Yeah,
glorious.
I'm supposed to be delivering these leg pads. I just fixed them up for my one of my customers' kids. He won't let this pad go. Like this is the second time I've already refurbished them, and his skates were like 3 sizes too big, but um, I it's $40 fix. I just relined the lip of the
Yeah.
top of the uppers of the skate and you know sharpen it and replace all the straps, man. Little stuff like that matters, dude. Like
Well, you've seen my pads. They're the old Vaughn
yeah.
Legacies. I bought them in '99. I took them. You probably know the shop here in St. Paul, George's Hockey Repair.
Oh, of
They're
course. I
another one
thought
of
you'd never
those
ask.
legendary shops. And I think it was a year or two ago. I just took them in and had a few straps replaced and a few seams tightened up. And I do want new pads. I am saving up for new pads, but you take care of them and they're going to last 21 years.
I've never had new pads, man. The only thing the first time I got like a $300 check, I bought a Brodeur Heaton Helite 4 blocker, New Jersey colors.
Yeah.
That was and my mom would tell me you should have bought, I would have bought you that web TV because it was $500 at the time when it came out in 95.
Mm-hmm.
And being in Silicon Valley, that's what everybody fucking got. My friends got a web TV and I played hockey with them, but because we're poor, I had to basically choose. But I live my life, man, with very little regret. I'm trying to get through this, and I hope I can get out of the, I can get out of it on the other side. Because my end game, being at my 10th year, my ultimate goal, man, is to kind of, because in little increments, I started editing video. I literally have 10 years worth of data I can just edit and start making videos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed, I started making like little instructions and stuff. Like
how to repair palms and stuff on player gloves.
like everybody loves watching videos. The ASMR factor of it. And I can't help myself, but I hate being in front of a camera. And I'm still kind of self-conscious about how I talk, and I hate my voice, and but I'm basically whoring out just so make sure I keep the sales going, because most of my revenue, man, is from out of town,
Mm-hmm.
but I built my website starting 2012, and you had a hand in and doing the because that was in 2017, I think. We spent a week in a barn in Washington State, man, at an island, programming the website.
Nice.
It was mostly data entry, but that was a week with my best friend, my childhood friend, man. My oldest photo that proves that I'm an actual Sharks fan in '94 was at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, and I'm wearing like almost the same exact hat.
Yep.
But it's a baseball cap, not a flat bill.
Yeah.
Like a Neptune's Kingdom, like inside one of those photo booths, you put $1 in back in '94, and it would give you like those pictures. But my love story, if you were to ask me if the Sharks and the Devils would ever meet in the finals, they came close. They came really close. 2011.
Yep.
It would have been the Kings. It wouldn't have been the Kings. It would have been the Sharks.
So, you mentioned the social media, and that's how I found you. And you alluded to it. You're very active there, and I gotta guess that leads to a lot of your business. But you've got a personality
Yeah.
on it too. You're not just you're not dry like here's what I'm doing. You bring your personality as you've shown here as we've been talking today. You convey that in those videos, and I love it. I know I think most people do too. Uh,
Most people, yeah.
so did you start it with the idea of this is going to help my business, and then eventually you're like, this is kind of fun at the same time? How much of a, because some of the stuff I do, it's how much of a fool can I make of myself before people are like, enough already?
Yeah, I think I was 7 years old when I realized I'm a little weird, a little different, eccentric. Um, my birth certificate, when I saw a copy of it with some of the medical reports that was on it, it literally says 6 month old diagnosis, infant shows signs of mental retardation. And this was before autism became like a thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
1980. Like, I was conceived right after the Miracle on Ice game, I guess. So um that game didn't even air in the Philippines, man. But you know I I guess in a way, I'm, like, when you come to my shop, you're gonna get that like Mighty Ducks Hans versus Jan.
Yeah.
Jan is better than Hans, by the way. From Mighty Ducks
Yeah.
too. I think he had better personality. I mean, dude, I can break that movie down and make fun of Gordon Bombay, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess mixing popular culture, curating really crappy hockey movies. I can rank top all 69 hockey movies ever made.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
anyhow, but I just try to get people to know me because there are obvious barriers, man.
Hmm.
Not being white. Um, People always ask, like, like, who's the owner? Like, how did you get in this business? And oftentimes too, because I've spent so many nights, like, I must have spent at least a year worth of all-nighters, just trying to do work, because up until 2015, man, I started doing this in 2011. I had a full-time job up until 2015, and I didn't go full-time when I quit that until I quit that job.
Hmm.
So I was like burning the candle on both ends and saving up, and um every single bit of money I made from that $20, and I bought that Coho 560, in a parking lot off Craigslist, man. I, I my grandma found my old sewing kit. I didn't, dude. I was hand sewing repalms for 3 years, dude. I didn't buy my first sewing machine until like 2014, bro. You know what I mean? Like, dude, yeah. Like, so you want to talk about paying your dues
Yeah.
and working out of a garage, working out of your car, making house calls. And before we got on our Zoom, I got reminded of how I got started, because I would literally make house calls, man. And, I'm on my way to Tahoe. I was supposed to be there by now, but because I take care of my grandma too, and
Mhm.
I was supposed to leave at 7 o'clock this morning, but she needed me for some stuff, and I had some work to finish at the shop and mail some packages out. And
Another
uh
pair of pads with the double bagging, like you showed on Instagram.
the burrito bag, yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, like, like, people, I think people are more surprised that I don't act professional, especially when I'm like commenting on, for example, like, you're an influencer when you don't comment on your own threads, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I can ever be that guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not only a facilitator, I also want to be a participant.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't put it out there if you didn't want to have the discussion.
No, that's how much I love this, dude. Like, like, in the corporate world, dude, people would say passion, but I guess I was just an asshole because the corporate world is designed so that it's supposed to be PC and stuff. But dude, I came from a hard knock life, like played
Yeah.
football, and like I understand how hard life could be from someone that just wanted to play hockey, like someone that just that's that it to simplify everything that we just talked about and everything good in my life, man, and my identity as a Filipino American is everything hockey and connecting that with everything, connecting with people that are not blood related to me, but I consider them family. The if I were to die today, I know my legacy is that there's dozens of people out there that I've directly mentored or they have a skill or they know something about hockey that most people don't because they were in my shop. They either work with me or they've taken something apart and then I would like mentor them and
That's awesome.
teach them hard work, and also like solutions to simple problems, like dude, like I grew up near a landfill in the Philippines. We call it Mount Landfill. It's literally like garbage everywhere, and I always, when I walked inside Georgia's hockey repair in 2015, we went got drunk across the street. There's like a bistro bar.
Yeah.
And but it's Old Town St. Paul, so everything's walking distance, right? So I walked in there. They had no, I didn't introduce myself or anything, but I was just shooting the shit with them, like a regular person, and then my Midwest accent came back, like my childhood Midwest accent came back. And I, at some point in my life, man, like the analogy I have being the only hockey shop in California is like say an astronaut that's swimming in the middle of an ocean. Like I'm a dime a dozen in Canada. You go to a shoe repair shop in the Midwest, Minnesota, East Coast, chances are they know how to fix hockey equipment.
That's
what I
used
mean?
to take my stuff in Chicago as the local shoe repair guy. I also played hockey and is like, I know he's going to take care of my stuff. So I got to ask this too. If you've been, since you've been to the cities, have you been to Strauss Skate Shop?
No, I've only heard of it, but when I go back,
you'll have to check it out. It's funny. I've been here 20 years now. It's maybe 10 minutes from my house. I've not once been in there. I drive by it all the time. It's right by one of the Chipotles I go to, but I've not been in there.
Oh my God. Well, God, Chipotle. Do you have Jollibee yet?
No.
Do you know what that is?
No.
No. It's like it's the McDonald's of the Philippines.
Okay. All right.
They have the Happy Bee as their mascot. So in the Philippines, they would have commercials of the Jollibee mascot fighting Ronald McDonald. And then at the end of this commercial, it was like 1990. I think it was 1990. Ronald McDonald would throw his shoe at the bee.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
So I know you're trying to get to Tahoe here. And I typically end my episodes with a list of 10 rapid fire questions. But before I get to them, I want to bring one thing up. Not only do you have the shop where you repair the equipment, all that great stuff, but you put your art background to work every now and then, specifically in the playoffs. And you come up with some great one-off t-shirts, prayer candles, and that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, dude.
When did you come up with the idea for the prayer candles? And how much do people love them?
Well, just like any regional stuff, it only it's only liked by people who have a shared interest, right?
Yep.
So it took me 16 years to get my divorce finalized. And April 23rd, 2019 was when I finally got my divorce.
Oh boy.
And so
in that time frame, it's still fresh.
I try to look at the positive stuff, and I even like went to Golden Gate Bridge to throw the ring. I even took a video of it, like throwing a ring, wearing the hurdle delivers. This was already after the hurdle delivered on that promise. But do you remember the the overtime, the comeback, the miracle against Vegas. The worst that goes down as the worst referee flop in any sport, I think.
Absolutely.
Because the Sharks didn't get away with any calls against St. Louis. Because St. Louis, like the Sharks did not get any calls, man. No favors, no nothing.
Not after that.
Dude, no, that could have been a Sharks Stanley Cup run right there, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I have, I like fart jokes. I'm a guy, and I have a pregame dump and change hashtag I've been using since 2013. But just like any idea, I have a million ideas, and none of them have taken off yet because I'm still broke as hell. But I just consider them fun. I have a tip jar. I have a tradition to where I put a goalie in there and then just the tip. And then I do a cutout to where they have to literally score on a goalie and give them kind of like an enticing feel to want to put money in there. So so right now I'm still stuck on Bennington,
Yeah.
Before that it was Fleury, and then, using my art skills, like all these, as soon as I got divorced, like kind of the creative juices came back, and then, we got the Vegas and the Sharks. So I drew Jones and the Knights. Gilla, freaking, that's the worst, ugliest freaking. Gillas are actually like cowards, right? They never fight. They usually would fight.
But they're highly poisonous too.
Yeah. So, there's humility in knowing I can kill you. So get the hell away from me. I'd rather not be non-confrontational. Yeah. But yeah, I drew that. I sold sold some shirts, broke even. And then the candles, going back to the candles, I have ADD too. I just got I got diagnosed in 2017, but I've always known.
Yeah. I haven't gone to get tested because I know.
Yeah. It's only becoming an issue because my health's kind of like failing me, like last year, a bunch of health issues. But I knew between my concussions, like right now, like MRI results, like they don't know what's wrong with me, like neurologically. So there's the brain's not firing on all cylinders anymore. And what was I talking about?
The candles.
The candles. Sorry, I'll get there. Okay, so I have those dollar store Jesus candles.
Yes.
And that night that the Sharks did that comeback, because they were down like 3 goals, right? And then the third period happened, 5 minutes thing. My buddy Nick McGee, who is he's in broadcasting. He's the play-by-play guy at the time for the Fresno Monsters.
Okay.
Right? And he was there with us. We were doing live, Facebook, whatever. And he let me take over while he had to go to Walmart and to go get some batteries for his microphone or something. Mm-hmm. And so while I was still live broadcasting on Facebook, I was using my phone to FaceTime him while he's inside Walmart to grab batteries, because Walmart's like a mile away from the shop.
Yeah.
And we all started screaming because they scored 2 quick goals, right? And while he's in Walmart, and he got all people looking at him, and most of the people working at that Walmart, one of them was my cousin. They're all Filipinos. They don't know hockey, whatever. So he gets back to the shop, and that Jesus candle was lit the whole time. And, just before it ran out of wax, the Sharks freaking wins it in overtime. It literally went out like 30 seconds afterwards. It's like it did its job. And being Filipino, Catholic, Christian, and I was holding on to that candle. I got superstitious, like goalies are superstitious, right?
Yeah, and I'm Irish Catholic, so I get it.
So yeah, I mean, my childhood best friend Joey Hurley, he's my oldest American friend here. We're still friends to this day since we were 13, and we became friends 2 days after Tupac died.
That's
94.
Crazy. My neighbor growing up, Mike Hurley, was my best friend.
So there you go.
Same last name.
Yeah. That's amazing. And so I started making non-denominational like candles, non what's it called, non-offensive, like non,
Yeah.
whatever. But every single candle has some kind of artistic like style to it, like when Pavelski died on the ice,
Yeah.
like he was being held. I kind of made it look like a gothic type of painting, like and then
Yeah.
Brent Burns made it look like Mesopotamian art, using some of my art history knowledge. And I sold okay, like they're $1. I bought 200 of those at a dollar store when I got an order for 150 of like the freaking Chara. I had the Chara one with
Yeah.
Marchand. I
Yep.
even have a tiny Marchand one, and dude, they were looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing with 200 candles? And you know how heavy that cart was?
Oh, I
I
can
broke
imagine.
I broke 20 of them just getting it. Every single dollar store has those like rubber stoppers out the door.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like, dude, like using, I have like laser jet printer, everything that I do, like water resistant sticker paper. You just
Yep.
print them out and put them on there and slap them. I sell them for like $3 a piece and make a little, profit. And
Well,
it's fun.
one
It's
of my
fun for me.
coworkers lives in San Jose and is a huge Sharks fan, so I'm gonna have to send her to the store to get
Hey,
her
bud.
Sharks
Sorry,
or
I'm gonna have
candle.
to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have to put you on speakerphone for like, because I have like 5% battery left.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
So can you hear me okay now, or?
I sure can. Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. What was your story? You got cut off. Sorry.
One of my coworkers lives in San Jose and she's a huge Sharks fan, so I'm gonna have to send her to the store to get her prayer candles because I think
There you go.
I think those are up her alley.
Yeah. Non-scented, non-denominational PC candles.
Yes. Well,
Because the ones you see,
I don't know if
the
the ones
dollar
with
store, they're very
Marchand are.
religious.
Yeah, I don't know if the ones with Marchand on there are non-offensive to some.
Well, it'll only be offensive to Callahan, right? Because it was the licking one.
Yes, yes. I was just listening to something the other day that he was on there, and they were asking him about that, and he goes, "At first, I didn't even think anything of it until I got, to my phone, and it was blowing up like people talking about it."
Yeah.
So, all right. So the 10 questions I like to end every episode with. First one, what's the craziest coaching moment you've witnessed during your playing days? Where a coach just loses it.
Our first day of practice, when I made that midget hockey team.
Yeah.
One of our coaches, right? We have like a grandpa of my teammate, and then the head coach. I kid you not, I can't remember his name, but he came out on the ice, and all I could think about was Chris Farley's figure skating routine on Saturday Night Live. I kid you not. And he didn't even say anything yet. As soon as he comes out of the ice, I start blabbering, and it made me run ladders. It made me skate ladders. Couldn't stop laughing. And I was laughing the whole time. So that was my first 10 minutes of practice, was doing ladders, man.
Nice. There was one practice. So in Illinois, they had instituted a new rule where every coach had to have a background check, assistant coaches and all. And our coaches were new and didn't know about it. So they didn't get it done in time. So we had a fill-in coach while they served their 1 week suspension. And I have hearing loss from when I was a kid. Nothing drastic, but enough.
Oh, I have hearing loss now from all the concerts I've been to, man.
Yeah, but so I'm down at the one end, and the coach blows the whistle to get everybody to come together. I honestly didn't hear it. So the whole team's at center ice, and I'm just, in the net doing my own thing. And then finally he's like, "Get over here." Well, and I get up there, and he's like, "Didn't you hear me? Are you deaf or something?" And I was like, "Well, a little bit I am." And he's like, "That's not funny." And one of my teammates is like, "Coach, he really is." Then he felt, because he's like, "Don't be some kind of smart ass. Are you deaf or something?" It's like, "I can't am." It's like, "But you are right. I am a bit of a smart ass too." So you're not entirely off point.
Oh man.
So next question, what's your favorite all-time goalie mask?
Oh, that's a tough one because I always think of era,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It can't just be one ultimate. But if you were to ask me, uh, Jerry Cheever's mask
That's a great one.
with the stitches,
Yep. Yeah.
because of the story and the backstory, because I always related to art. It reminded me of this one painting. The We'll get to that later, but yeah, my favorite. I think my favorite mask would be Jerry Cheever's.
Yeah, he's somebody I'd love to get on the podcast to talk to. Not even
Yeah,
ask him about his mask because he played in an era that most hockey fans can't even comprehend today.
yeah. I mean, dude, less than a quarter of goalies at the time when Cheevers went on to play with the Bruins, you know, they look like pretzels, right? And
Yep.
he was using a basically fiberglass, and he was literally the first goalie that started designing masks.
Yep.
So that was
Well,
kind of like Patrick Waugh revolutionizing the game with his butterfly style,
yeah.
right?
Well, the fella in Detroit had the wings over the eyes. That was the first time there was a design. But yeah, Cheevers was the first one that was kind of known and noticed and kind of took off. That
Yeah.
inspired others.
I mean, the joke would be, Terry Shawchuk literally had his face fucking painted every time he took a puck to the face.
Yep. Yeah. So the next question: what's your favorite rink that you've played at?
Favorite rink? Oh man, I'd have to say still Toyota Sports Center in LA, man.
Okay.
Where the Kings practice.
Yep. That looks like a cool place.
This was and they had I think they had 3 rinks already at that time. It's by the airport. I got invited to like a development camp, and that was like my first time there. And they were doing drills and stuff, and I stopped all my breakaway drills, and that was fun. And then my mom was actually there, like because I didn't want to drive my beater freaking Suzuki Samurai.
Yeah.
The Suzuki Samurai doesn't go 65, bro.
No, and if it does, it's shaking the whole time.
Yeah.
You mentioned that place has 3 rinks. Have you been to the super rink when you're in Minnesota to see the 8 sheets of ice they have at that facility?
I have not.
It's something else.
I have not.
That I would say that's my home rink because that's where my beer league team plays out of. But there's closer rinks to me. But that's where I do most of my skating.
I mean, dude, you have one of those like horizontal freaking escalators at the airport that you need to walk in, right?
Yeah.
No, but dude, like, I'm like, like hockey here in California is not where
it's very
I'd
niche
love to be a part of. Yeah. I've never touched the cup, man. And, people have been telling me if you get an opportunity to become an equipment manager somewhere in NHL or whatever down the road when you're older, would you do it? I'm like, in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
The joke among equipment managers, man, is that Dana Hines is like the exception because he makes time and he actually enjoys sharing, but he's been kind of MIA lately. But they're like the unsung heroes because they're not marketed to be rock stars, right? Mm-hmm. They're the grunts. They're like teachers.
But the players know how important they are. And
yeah.
The players have the appreciation. Yeah. Even when I was in college, I mean, we didn't have a true equipment manager because I was playing Division III. But our coach who took care of all that stuff, we all treated him a little bit nicer than the other coaches just because he was the one that sharpened our skates every night and made sure they were good. He was the one that made sure, if there was a palm that needed to be replaced, he took care of that kind of stuff. You're right. They're the unsung heroes. So what's your favorite stick that you've used?
Oh, man. It's got to be the Sherwood, the PMP series, man.
Okay.
I had a bunch of surveys.
Yeah.
And my number 2 is the Helite 4 Brodeur, the black one.
Yeah. Did you see the Penguins the other day? They all used the Sherwood wood sticks at practice.
Oh, dude, my jaw dropped. I'm like,
yeah, I still don't know.
Like foreshadowing?
Yeah, I don't know why they did it, but I wish they would go back to wood sticks.
Bro, if there wasn't COVID, I bet you Canadian Tire would air freight a bunch of PMP 5030s and keep it, keep it kosher and make everybody play with freaking wood sticks.
Yep. Last year, when my daughter said she wanted a new hockey stick for Christmas for the backyard rink, I went to the store and I bought her a Sherwood Featherlight, and that's what she uses out on the rink in the backyard.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So what? Go on.
No. Let's keep. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
number 3 would be the 550, the pot bin.
Okay, that was a good stick. I used some of them in college. We still had some left over. They had a lot of
Halak
flex.
is a hoarder. I had 6 of those pot bin, and Halak bought them all.
Oh boy.
He goes on my eBay once in a while and buys stuff. He was my 3rd NHL client customer.
That's awesome. He's fun to watch too. That's for sure.
He's got a really nice guy, man.
He's got some style too.
Yeah. Well, him and I would chirp back and forth because I made that video, the puck mark removal video.
Yes.
For him. Because he's notorious. Dude, the guy has so much OCD. He's notorious for using Magic Eraser almost after every single game.
Oh boy.
And Brian's he should get a free set for every 20 sets that he buys.
That's funny. So what's your favorite youth hockey memory?
Oh, youth hockey memory. Oh my God. Oh, hold on. Hockey workout, man. Like I fixed a lot of the rental gear, in between like working. My only regret in life, not getting married too young, not dropping out of school, was not having anyone take a picture of me driving a Zamboni in between games with my goalie gear on.
I have the same thing because when I was in college, I was one of the 3 students allowed to drive the Zamboni by our head of maintenance. And I had to clean the ice between our practice and the women's practice. So I got out of wind sprints at the end of practice, ran to the locker room, took my pads and my skates off, and then drove the Zamboni with my breezers, my chest protector, and all that stuff on every single day.
My God.
This was pre-social media. I mean, if there was a cell phone, it was a Zach Morris brick phone. It's like, so nobody ever thought to take a picture. So I'm with you on that one. Because I've said several times I would like that.
Like I think we're around the same age, but back then we stayed present in the moment. Like not everything had to be documented, and people just took our word for it. And the greatest moments in life are shared memories, I think.
Yes.
And
well, when we get together with old teammates and stuff, what do? We tell the same stories over and over, and I'll be darned if they don't get better every time.
Hey, remember that chick Benny? She would always go to our games, and then
No, it's funny you say that because I graduated high school in 1999, and really a lot of me and my teammates, we've done an alumni game or two, right after we graduated, but we haven't skated together really since then. And I'm trying to get the boys back together for a tournament in Madison this summer, just so that we can, sit around and have a few beers and reminisce the old stories. And I sent a text out to, the whole group, and right away everybody's like, yeah. And then the stories started, even over text. It was like, you remember that one game when we got into that fight with those Swedish kids? How could I forget?
Oh my God. Dude, but you know what, dude, travel hockey's for life, man. I only got to play youth hockey, travel hockey for one season, but I always carry those memories. I still keep in touch with most of them. We lost a couple of them, they're no longer with us, but like you witness, they have their own kids now. I'm probably the only one that doesn't have my own kid, and I find myself borrowing other people's kids, like hockey parents' kids, to like mentor, you know, and it's hard to engage today's generation in something that was vocational, not 20 years ago,
Yeah.
Like going back to Urban, I was drawn to him because there were videos of him fixing gear in the bus trips between
Yeah.
roadies, and yeah, I was like, I know how to sew. His bags
Yeah.
look beat up.
Well,
He's an equipment manager's dream because he keeps the cost down. An equipment manager at the end of the day, they're business managers.
yep. Well, when I was talking to Eddie Belfour and asking him, because he was legendary for tinkering with his equipment, he talked about tearing things apart to see how they were made.
Oh dude, he would sharpen his own freaking
Yeah.
skates.
Yep.
Yeah.
He didn't trust other people to do it, is the story
But
goes.
dude, that same competitive, like you look back at his history, he wasn't drafted because he's probably like really radioactive as far as like someone that you cannot groom,
Yep.
because you got to act a certain way, right? But eventually, people like say Theo Fleury or Martin St. Louis. That's another issue for another day. Your competitive nature, the fact that you are good enough to be in the best league in the world, you'll get your shot eventually if you keep going at it.
Well, and
That's what Ed Belfour is to me, I think.
And it's funny because
And he played till he's 42.
And you hear the stories of Mike Keenan, but he
Yeah.
loved playing for Mike Keenan because I think there was a sense of Keenan understood, like, hey, I've got a competitive drive. I might not agree with you, and I'm going to give it back to you, but it's because I want to win as much as you do.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If I were ever, if you and I can come up, if we can collaborate on something, we can connect the dots, and the patient zero would be the Miracle on Ice game. What like what that game actually meant, not just in the world of hockey, but the world.
Oh God, yeah. I love history. I mean, under this desk here is all the books I've read, and from about here down is all history.
Yeah.
So,
dude, people talk about diversity like World Series. Yeah, it's mostly like Latin Americans and Americans.
Yeah, and a few Canadians.
And a few Canadians, yeah. And basketball, you got Greeks, some Europeans, but mostly Americans, right?
Yeah.
But just because it's mostly white people forget that these hockey players, we have the most diverse group of professionals playing in the sport, right?
Absolutely.
Soccer is still the most commonly played, but it wasn't till recently until like Europe, like the what's that league in the UK, the Premier League?
Yeah.
To where they're now starting to import more players from other countries, but before, for the longest time, it's a boys' club. It's only people love playing in the UK, Scotland, or whatnot. But yeah, dude, like hockey, the biggest challenge with hockey is accessibility in play, right?
Yes.
And you have these diversity coalitions now with Evander Kane and stuff, but it's still focused on the black and white aspect of it. If we were gonna do like a Dave Chappelle, I'm trying to be as PC as I can without being offensive. Remember Dave Chappelle's race draft? Like
yes.
Matt Dumba is half Filipino. His mom's Filipino, and Bruno Mars is half Filipino. And people forget the first non-white NHLer played 11 years before Willie O'Reilly did. He only played one game for the Rangers, but he was a Canadian from Alberta. It was and the reason why he didn't become like an ambassador or wasn't involved was because he had to go back home and help his parents run their thrift store, grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Did I go off topic again?
No, because it's not like we really have a topic.
Yeah.
So let me look here at the questions and see where we're at. So the next question is one you'll probably have some good ones. What's the best chirp you've heard, either directed towards you, at a teammate, whatever? Best chirp.
Oh my God. It's actually not a hockey chirp, but it was in football.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, your mom's pretty hot. Is she single?
Oh, funny. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, inside I was laughing, but I can't show that because my mom is literally behind this kid.
Nice.
Yeah. So my mom has got me in a lot of trouble because she's a looker, beautiful, and she's a complete polar opposite of me as far as like presentation and like she tried to she's like the original freaking KGB tried to censor me, because I am who I am and I tend to be embarrassing. I'm not your typical, obedient Filipino kid,
Right.
my grandma hates she's still not convinced that I'm the owner of that shop. She can't wait to meet the owner of the shop someday. She only thinks my success will come with seeing me on television, just like anybody in the world,
That's funny.
Isn't that sad?
No, because I work in marketing. I'm a digital analyst. My dad was a firefighter. My sister is a nurse. They have very traditional jobs that they understand.
Yeah.
My dad's like, "What do you do?" And I try and explain it to him. He's like, "I don't get it." You know, finally, the one day he goes, "Do you enjoy what you do?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "And you can pay all your bills, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, I'll stop asking what you do then."
No, parents' role, right? I don't think I'll ever have the pleasure, dude. I'm gonna be 40. I don't want to be in my 60s if I ever have kids and I watch them graduate when I'm barely gambling on farts,
Yeah.
and and but it would be a shame if I don't have somebody to pass on what I know, because everything that I've accomplished in life that's pretty much meant anything to me are hands-on, right?
Mhm.
And my hands are on its last legs, to be honest with you. Like I went through 2 years of treatments because I had like MRSA on my hands, like viruses, and I had like warts, dude. And I have permanent nerve damage on my hands, and it hurts to freaking cut Gen Pro these days. Like the last 3 years, man. And I'm not as fast as I used to, and I had 6 employees last year before all this COVID stuff went down, and I'm a one-man show ever since, right? And
Mhm.
right now, my main priority is making sure I keep my landlord happy. And I've pissed off a lot of people this year. Like I've come up short. The problem with me is that I set my freaking standards so high that my 5.0 did not go down until last year.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then once that seal breaks, man, it's like Boucher's shutout streak. Once that shutout streak ended, he was bad for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I get
You know,
that.
or
But he bounced back. That's the thing. He did eventually bounce back.
yeah. Remember Patrick Lalim's rookie season? He got what
Yes.
he was undefeated in like 16 games.
Yes.
And we all thought that he was gonna be the next Patrick Waugh, and he was wearing the white and black warts pads,
Yep.
remember? And then before you know it, I mean, he did pretty well in Ottawa,
Yep.
wearing those 14-inch freaking Sherwoods.
Yeah. And his time in
But
Chicago was unmemorable.
yeah, dude, one of my dreams is to do like a restoration show, talk about like all aspects of like how it's made is groundbreaking. I love watching that show, even if it's a
Yes.
rerun, man. I just love having it in the background because my communication skills did not allow me to make connections with other people. Like, I, even though there's 6 of us, like siblings and stuff, I was the only child up until I was 8. Like my
Mhm.
brother, I did not meet my brother until I was 8 years old, and he was already one because my brother Luigi was born in California, and I didn't meet him till he was already one. And then he got shipped to the Philippines for a while, and I helped raise that kid. Like he had a natural knack for playing defense, bro, but he didn't stick with it. He didn't like the skating part of it. But yeah, he just he was a Marine. He did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and he's a Marine Corps. And my bloodline's background on my mom's side is basically my great uncle, my grandma's I'm totally going sideways here. He fought World War II with the Americans, and he was the first one from my bloodline that came to America. And then my dad's side, they're basically mostly farm workers, like in Central Valley here.
Okay. So I'm going to get us back on track because I've taken up so much of your time. What is
dude, I'm on your time, man.
So what is the worst post-game beverage you've had? Usually I ask beer, but I don't know if you're drinking beer these days. So what's the worst post-game beverage you've had?
I have to think about this for a second. Oh man, warm beer.
I agree. That's the
warm Pabs. The warm Pabs beer in a can, man. It tasted like zinc and aluminum and rotten eggs.
That's probably an accurate description with notes of leather, right?
Yeah, with notes of gently used horsehide leather.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. When you tape a stick, do you go heel to toe or toe to heel?
It's the complete opposite of Brooks and Dunn, which is my favorite country music band. It's toe to heel.
Okay. Why do you go toe to heel?
Because of the curvature in the blade, because I go past it, because I'm a cheap bastard. I go all the way to where the bend ends, to where the blade becomes the paddle.
Okay.
My reasoning for that is, when you're making a kick save or when you're propelling the puck to the side, it tracks, and you always want the extra layer to be above so that there's a flow. And then you want to run the puck on it. You want it to you want it to compress as close as you can to the, you want to flatten it.
See, now I tape my stick that far as well, but I go heel to toe because I find making that transition up the blade is where if I'm going to make a mistake, that's where I make the mistake. So it's a lot easier to start over if I'm starting up here than if I'm starting down there.
That's an interesting take on that.
Yeah.
Did you use a 13 lie or a 14 lie?
I'd have to look at my stick.
The Belfour is, I think the Belfour is a 13 lie.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is.
And dude, and it's got that extra curve. You ever notice that compared to other, it's got that perfect arch, dude.
Yeah. And that one, it's like you do the curve and then it starts the curve that way too. So you got a couple planes you're dealing with. So when you're playing, what's your favorite number to wear?
It's always been 30, man. While Herbe piqued my interest, got me going. It's always been Brodeur for me.
Being the Belfour fan I always thought Brodeur was a little overrated at the time. And then he kept playing and played in 3 different decades. And I kind of retroactively looked at him, you know what? You were better than I gave you credit for in those early years.
I only have one argument for Brodeur, because it's not his numbers. It's not his records, right? Although he's got pretty interesting records, but he was durable. And you know why he was durable? I'm still mad at him for freaking playing for St. Louis, but whatever. He was durable because early on in junior hockey, even though it wasn't the popular methodology, because everybody was playing freaking butterfly.
Yeah.
He understands, like when you understand your own body, mind, body, spirit.
Yep.
The way he moves to make a save is what makes him different, because he's not robotic.
No.
His reactionary saves are, it's not like a drama queen like freaking Hasek, but his body movement complements his anticipation and his reaction to the play. He's probably one of the smartest goalies that's ever played the game. Like Dryden is the smartest goalie, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
That's ever played the game.
Dryden is special. And I think younger goalies, it should be required reading that they read the game to understand how different and how special he is to the position. So my last question, it actually dovetails nice with mentioning Ken Dryden, is what advice do you have for young goalies?
God, I don't think I've ever been asked that question, but to put it simply, know not just thyself, but thine own gear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm gonna carve that into a freaking wood.
That's gonna be the next prayer candle, probably.
No. It's non-denominational. It's PC, so it's gonna be a chant candle.
I like it. I like it.
That?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's good because I mean, I had the discussion with Goalie Gear Nerd too. Is the gear should complement you as a player. So that means while CCM gear is right for player A, it's not right for player B. So you have to understand what works well for the way you play. That's why I know when I ever upgrade to modern equipment, I'm going to struggle because I've been playing in equipment that was made for a different era.
Yeah.
For a different way of playing.
Dude, I see goalies that buy pro return gear, but they're 5'4" and they can't fit into Picarinne's pads.
Yeah.
It's a trickle down thing, right? In the 90s, they tried making gear for women. Like this CCCM went back to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They failed miserably the first time, like putting a breastplate on John Brown, like, chest protector. Mm-hmm. Like John Brown was hands down toe to toe with Brian's, I thought.
Yeah.
Kirk McLean and kept Vaughn in business because they were like the team to beat in the 90s, right? Until Rangers, but Pavel Bure, right? The penalty shot. But dude, I can go all day, man. Like hockey, like everything good in my life and my mission and my way of giving back to this sport that's given me so much is passing on what I know, mm-hmm. and hopefully make enough money and pass on what I know to people that want to work, because dude, it's not for everybody. It requires work, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it wasn't a passion project for me. It literally was survival, and right now 10 years into it, I'm still in survival mode,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it sucks. It sucks to have to create your own opportunities in life. I've never been the kind of guy that gets first dibs on anything. I had to earn everything that I got, man. And
mm-hmm.
I wasn't as talkative now as I was back then. I had the quiet game going, but
I find that hard to believe.
If you asked me 10 years ago if I'm this cool, I'm like, no, I was mostly an alcoholic back then. So people thought I was fun to be around, but
mm-hmm.
now I just try to be as authentic as I can. And because I'm trying to be as efficient as I can, because I don't have that much time in the day. Like I literally try to break it down
mm-hmm.
by numbers, right? Like how much time can I spend with a customer? Like it's scary sometimes, like how I know your skates don't fit you just by looking at your feet and the skates.
Yep.
And wisdom is not cheap, man. It's the most expensive virtue in the world, is wisdom.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Yogi Berra's quote when he broke in with the Yankees? I forget who his predecessor was, but he said, he taught me his experience.
Yeah.
And my dad, like I said, he was a firefighter, and there was an old saying in the fire industry to listen to the older firefighters so that you become one yourself, because there's that experience that they've learned. And if you just shut your mouth and listen and observe, you're going to absorb some of that knowledge in some way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my dude. If I can finish this off, like,
Yeah.
my future is, you know, uh, my high school. How old are you? I'm 39. How old are you now?
I just turned 40.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
just ahead of me. Belated.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a 19. You're a 1981 baby too, huh?
Yes, I am.
Or 80? Are you 80?
81, January of 81.
Gotcha. Nice. March 24, baby. Same birthday as Madonna. Okay. If I can get back to my point, is that
Yeah.
um vocational education, trade school or whatnot, you know, hockey service shops, like what Mighty Ducks tried to popularize in their movie, is that they, it's a sustainable job, but there's such a gap between what's expected of the current and future generations, right? Like go to
Hmm.
school,
Yep.
do the road pave, and then not everybody can be first round draft picks, right?
Right.
And dude, statistically speaking, you actually have less of a chance to make it in an NHL unless you're a legacy, because you got these legacies that, they know who their contacts are, they know who to contact, and they get more exposure that way. And
Hmm.
of course, biology, right? Sans Phil Kessel, he's a biological anomaly. We can talk
Yes.
about Phil Kessel's biological anomaly.
Yes.
But dude, it's a skill set that can be taught, and get your hands dirty, man. Like, there's so much gear that gets thrown out and wasted. I can't tell you how many dumpsters I've dived into, more than the Sedin twins ever in their career on the ice.
Oh boy.
Yeah, dude. Yesterday, I think I sent you a photo. I had a car full of free hockey gear, and I scored.
Yep.
It's more like a loan, but I got like a Wisoda skate sharpener,
Oh,
$2,000 911.
yeah.
So I'm gonna refurbish that, and I got like some graph skates, and then like some free speakers, and then like some helmets.
Hmm.
And if anybody can find free stuff or giveaways in the Bay Area, people donate stuff to me all the time, and I'm donating about 80 pieces of gear that I can squeeze into my car back here.
That's amazing.
So Sky Tavern, it's 9,000 feet up in the Sierra Nevada. It's 20 minutes north of where the game is going to be.
In about an hour.
No, it starts at noon, dude.
Oh, so it's starting about now, I think.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I missed out. I was supposed to be here. I was supposed to be there yesterday, but priorities, right?
Yep.
Um, uh, but yeah, tonight we're playing there. I'm donating a bunch of gear and then meeting the director. It's basically like a volunteer base, like ski resort, and they have an
Mhm.
actual hockey pond.
Oh, cool.
And tonight's their last night.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
man. And I'm hoping I can meet Clint Malachuk at the new Reno rink. He's the
that'd be
director
cool.
over there.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, I've taken up way more of your time than I told you.
No, dude, I'll let you go. I appreciate your.
Yeah.
Oh shit, 2 hours.
That's all right. I like that. In fact, the one of the recent episodes I recorded, same thing. It went 2 hours because it was good conversation. So I just split it up into 2 episodes, which is awesome.
Wow.
I'll just
Part 1, part 2. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry about the editing portion of this. It's probably gonna be a nightmare.
No, I don't do any editing. I just a little bit at the end,
God.
a little bit at the beginning and the end when I say my hellos and goodbyes. But hey, Essan, I appreciate you hopping on. I mean, for those that aren't viewing on YouTube, Essan's been driving and sitting in his car this whole time. So he went the extra mile. So thank you.
I'm the best Asian driver that I know of. And,
See,
I was a lawnmower racing champ in Missouri.
You can say those things. I can't. Before I forget, where can folks find you on social media so if they do have equipment that needs to be repaired, they know where to send it?
I want to apologize to George's Hockey Repair because I kind of took their hockey repair moniker, but it's at Hockey Repair on Twitter and Instagram, and my website's hockeyrepair.net or bayareahockeyrepair.com. And you can always find all bar content with the hashtag Pagic, which is just magic with pads, basically.
Yep. And I'll put links to all of those in the show notes as well. And don't worry, because George isn't on social media, so I don't think.
Yeah, dude. I tried contacting them. Their websites, like they've been trying to rebuild their website, but something's screwy with it. Like I told them I can help them if they want it, but but shops like his, those are traditional like shoe repair shops that diversify. I mean, dude, I can go all day about like the history of upholstery, saddlery, leatherwork, and how sports borrow from other things, or like industry borrows from other industry, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love going into George's though, and like you said, I've taken my equipment there. But to your point, I don't wait until I have a game. I wait until I have a couple weeks off so that they have time to work on it. And God forbid, if somebody calls me looking for me to play, I have a few goalies I can reach out to and say, hey, I need to borrow your pads tonight. Because it's a lot easier to do that than bring them into the repair shop and say, I need them for a 5 p.m. game.
You can caption this, as don't mind the ADD, but this is a super ADD episode, I guess.
That's all right.
Always. And my last joke is in the Philippines, ADD means always disco dancing.
Oh, I don't know if I want to see you disco dancing. I'm going to be honest.
Hey, man. Hey, for good money, I might actually sing My Way by Frank Sinatra finally, because it's like the #1 Filipino love karaoke song of all time. Yes. But I'm kind of like a hipster that way. I would never sing it.
Right.
Maybe for a fundraiser.
You don't want to play. You don't want to play into the stereotype, right?
Yeah, don't pigeonhole me, man.
Yeah. Well, my friend, thank you again. When you're in town, let me know, and maybe we can meet up and have some fun.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Have fun in Tahoe, bud.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good day.
Bye now. So that was a long chat when you combine the two together. It was fun to finally connect with Essan, though, as we've gone back and forth over social media and email for quite some time. I hope you enjoyed the 2 episodes as much as I did. Be sure to follow Essan on social media at Goalie Repair or BAHR Sports or Hockey Repair on Instagram. That's right, he's got 3 different profiles there. You can find him on Facebook at BAHRS, on Twitter at Bay Area Hockey Repair, all one word, and YouTube under Bay Area Hockey Repair and Sharpening. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube simply by searching for Washed Up Goalie, and I'll pop up. Visit washedupgoalie.com for some great hockey-related content. My beer league hockey video highlights, that is when I get on the ice these days, and of course, all podcast episodes. If you want some Washed Up Goalie or Tendy Talk apparel, be sure to visit my Threadless shop by clicking the shop link on my website. And don't just browse, make sure you purchase something. If you like this podcast, be sure to give the BLPA Big Show a listen. The BLPA Big Show is part of the BLPA Podcast Network. That's a lot of BLPAs right there. Either way, it's part of the podcast network, and it has a couple beer leaguers just talking hockey and at times hot topics in the hockey world. Show is hosted by Nick Jones and Trish Dangles, and Cara Diabella seems to be an unofficial co-host as well. I need to thank the band The Zambonis for allowing me to use their music on my podcast. You can download their music on iTunes or wherever you stream music from. I'm working on lining up other goalies to talk to as well. If you are a goalie or have connections to a goalie who I should talk to, shoot me an email at washedupgoalie39@gmail.com or send me a DM on social media. Let's not forget, if you are a brand who wants to sponsor the show, be sure to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk. And finally, if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, comment on the podcast platform you're listening on. It's a quick action on your part that helps others find Tendy Talk. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice and your body square to the puck.
protection from a hip/her legal check. And you know that means that your brain hit the side of your head. Because you wear shin pads. So why stop there? 'Cause if you wear a helmet, you can skate your next shit. Even when I practice, I like to wear my helmet around. Why is that, Pete? That way in the games, I don't feel like it's slowing me down. Now that makes sense.